Thank you for being here to participate in the League of Women Voters Forum for candidates for Castro Valley Unified School District Governing Board. This program is a co-production of the Eden Area League of Women Voters and Castro Valley TV. My name is Sheila Young, and I am a member of the Eden Area League of Women Voters, and my co-moderator was going to be Robert Souza, who's now working with the TV people, but we had to change our format, so we've moved ourselves around a little bit. Throughout our history, the League of Women Voters has been providing opportunities for candidates seeking public office to take their case directly to the voters. League candidate forums are an expected part of the political process for every level of public office. We have a long-standing reputation for fair, unbiased, and competent service to the voters. The purpose of our forum is to provide voters with information that will help them make an informed choice when they cast their ballots.
Good evening. I'm Mary Pippitt, and I would also like to thank the League of Women Voters and Castro Valley TV for sponsoring this forum this evening. So why am I a candidate? Why a candidate for school board? Well, as a parent of two sons who attended Castro Valley schools, I've always involved myself where I could. The field trips, the class parties, the sports days, the crab feeds, the dynamic dinners. But I also served on the school site council at Proctor. I ran for the school site council at the high school, and I currently participated in a year-long WASC review at Castro Valley High School. I decided to be a candidate for school board because I feel that a board responsible for educating our children needs to have an educator at the table. I'm running because I have broad educational experiences and really deep educational background that I think is especially necessary now with these tough financial situations. I'm running because I can bring almost 40 years of working in education to make informed decisions when prioritizing things for children in classrooms. In my 40 years, 20 were spent at the classroom. I've taught at the elementary level, I've taught reading at the junior high school level, I've taught remedial reading at the high school level. I've taught at a high-performing school in a suburb. I've taught many years in East Oakland. My experiences are vast and they're broad. Additionally, I was an adjunct professor at Cal State University for 16 years in the teacher education department, where I helped prepare teachers to teach reading. I taught reading methodology. I'm a published author of a book that describes the successful buddy reading program that I co-developed at a multilingual and multicultural school. I've worked at the central office level as a coordinator with a multi-million-dollar budget, charged with training and overseeing 30 coaches at over 30 schools around the district. I led a reading leadership team that was comprised of assistant superintendents, coordinators, teachers, and principals, looking at our effective schools and trying to identify factors that made them successful, and then strategize ways to foster that in other schools. Currently, I work at the Alameda County Office of Education as a reading language arts coordinator, supporting all the schools in Alameda County. Two of my goals for the board are transparency of thought, transparency of intentions, and transparency of actions, along with improved communication. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good evening. I'm Charmaine Banther, and I'm a teacher. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters and Castro Valley TV for this opportunity to address the Castro Valley community. I'm a teacher because it's my calling. I found this out after earning my degree in computer science, having taught for a few years as my aunt had told me I should do, and wondering if this was my true profession. I had a really awful year, my 7th year, and I saw a poster that said I could go out and work in industry for the summer. So there I did. I went and worked at Lockheed Martin, and I found that I was a very good programmer, but I hated every single day. I knew my role in this world was to educate our children. And when I went back to school, I was doubly devoted to making sure that our schools were the best for our children. And so for 25 years now, as a Logan High School teacher, I've done just that. I've worked to strengthen our community, to strengthen our schools, and to make sure that every child could reach their highest aspiration that came through my classroom. And so today, I would like to work for Castro Valley schools. I've seen our schools do very, very well, but I believe Castro Valley schools can do better. I work with this California Teachers Association Committee on Teacher-Driven Change. We're trying to look at a think tank to look at what are the best environment for creating change. Change, unique change. Every school is different. And what the federal government is doing for our schools right now is one size fits all. What we know is true is that every single school is different. Every community is different. And it's up to that community and those school professionals to decide how to move that school to the next level, how to improve the situation for their children. And that's what's missing in our system right now. And so we're looking at how do you create a system that causes the optimum opportunity for change, for the right change. Don't we want our Castro Valley schools to be the very best in the state? They're good, but I think they can be much better. I am a problem solver to the T. I have never walked away from a difficult situation, and I have never, ever not collaborated with all stakeholders. So I'm hoping that you will see that we need a teacher and a student advocate on the school board, and I hope that you will vote for Charmaine. Thank you.
Good evening. I want to thank the League of Women Voters for this opportunity and CVTV for filming this tonight. My name is John Barbieri, and I am a member of the Castro Valley Unified School District Board of Education, and I'm also a veteran and a newly retiree. Believe me, it's enjoyable. I too have a lifetime teaching credential. I went back to school and got my credential, and I taught for 14 years over at the Chabot College. I taught mathematics, which was a requirement for your AA degree. I taught finance, banking, management courses over there. I had to stop because I was traveling so much for my employer, Crocker Bank. My last assignment at Crocker Bank was I was vice president and district manager of 100 branches throughout the state of California. I was traveling all over. I had 1,000 employees. I had a budget of $500 million and up that I was responsible for, plus all the facilities that the branches were located in. So I'm bringing a little different perspective tonight to education, even though education is the focus of our school board. Student achievement of all ages, all the way up through the adult education, and all those students that have special needs. When Crocker and Wells Fargo merged, myself along with a lot of senior officers, we were outplaced, which means I lost my job. So I know what it means to lose that job after 24 years. So I know what a lot of people go through, especially with the economy the way it is today. I then was offered a position with another institution to try and help them out because they were under regulatory control. The board could not raise sufficient capital, so they got sold, and I was out again of another job. So I said, the heck with that, I'm going to start my own business, which I did. Because of my background and connections in the financial institution, I had to get vetted by the regulatory agencies that oversee all these institutions. And for the third time, I had to be background checked by the FBI to make sure that I'm who I am. So that way these banks could then allow me to come in and look at their record and perform audits. I'm bringing this up because I bring another perspective to the board because education is important. I have said for many years, and I will continue to say it, education is a business, whether you believe it or not. If you don't have money, you don't have education, and you do not have quality education. Here in Castro Valley, we have quality education, we have quality teachers, we have quality classified employees, and we have quality administrators. We are all one of a team to accomplish one thing, and that is student achievement. And if you look at our scores that we have, we exceed a lot of the districts in our area here in Alameda County. We're in the top percentile for student achievement. Now, I know it's... Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
I'm a proponent of public education. I graduated from San Fernando High School, part of the LA Unified School District. I received an AA from LA Valley College in Van Nuys, and I also received a Bachelor's of Science in Business Administration from California State University in Northridge. Essentially, it was an accounting degree. I've also earned the Masters of Governance and the Masters of Boardsmanship, which is given out by the California School Boards Association. My background as an accountant has enabled me to assist the school district in maintaining a strong financial position. Through prudent financial management, the district has been able to maintain an exemplary academic program with minimal cuts. During my tenure, the community has passed 3 bond elections which funded the high school stadium, the science building, the Center for the Arts, the Creekside Middle School gym, elementary science centers, and seismic and security upgrades for all of our schools. I believe in the future of our children and their pursuit of academic excellence. The school scores and standardized tests are among the highest in the county. Over 80% of our schools have been selected as California Distinguished Schools. I've been a Castro Valley resident since 1975. I've been married since 1973 to my wife Patty, who is a teacher in an adjoining district. And our 3 children have graduated from Castro Valley High School, and they've all gone on to earn college degrees. 2 of my grandchildren attend Castro Valley Elementary School, with my youngest daughter being a teacher there. I will continue to be most diligent and responsive to the needs and concerns of our community. I am accessible to the community and the district as I attend school and community functions. To ensure the continued high quality of education for our children, please vote for an experienced and astute financial incumbent.
I want to start by thanking the League of Women Voters and Castro Valley TV for giving us this opportunity. I believe that public education is the great equalizer in our society and one of the most important institutions that we have. A local school board has the opportunity to develop policy and programs that serve the children in their community within the many constraints of the state and federal governments. The children in the community of Castro Valley deserve the best public education possible. I am child-focused and knowledgeable about education in California and committed to making a difference to Castro Valley students. The Board of Education is responsible for many elements of quality education. The school board's job is to establish a vision to create and maintain an effective and efficient school district, to ensure accountability, and to provide community leadership as advocates for children, the school district, and public education. Our students are successful because they have high-quality staff within and outside of the classroom. Our students learn because they are in an environment where they know that they are safe and in facilities that support learning. All of our classroom buildings have been renovated and recently received earthquake proofing. These elements come together because we have exercised prudent financial stewardship for our district. Because of California's fiscal crisis, I've had to make tough decisions about our budget. I recognize that these decisions affect my neighbors, my friends, and our community as a whole. I'm confident that I have taken the best possible strategic steps for the future of Castro Valley. There's a steep learning curve to becoming a contributing school board member. The school board is elected as lay people who work collaboratively with the professionals who manage the day-to-day tactical decisions of the schools and those who offer classroom instruction and support. You must not be afraid to be a team player and work together to strengthen the district, because an individual cannot affect change. I've taken advantage of many opportunities to make informed and knowledgeable choices for Castro Valley's children. I've earned a Master's of Boardsmanship and a Master's of Governance from the California School Boards Association. I've served on many statewide education committees. Their subject matters range from service learning, Title I, civic education, to career and technical education. I've been an active PTA leader for years. I was the California State PTA President for 2009-11, and I have entrusted my 4 children to the Castro Valley Unified School District. Thank you.
What is the biggest challenge currently facing CVUSD, and what do you think the challenge will be 5 years from now?
I believe that the biggest challenge that faces Castro Valley Unified School District is a financial one. We're in a state of, from federal and the state and local communities, of severe financial depression and, well, I shouldn't use depression, but fewer financial difficulties. And I think that one of the things that we have to look forward to is a continued financial recession, and that's going to impact our school funding. We have a ballot measure on September 30th, in November, about school bonds, and I think it's essential that those pass. As far as 5 years from now, it looks like the financial issue is going to be there. I think that from a school board perspective, as a school board member, we are most interested in the high performance of our students and the strong academic performance. And we need the teachers and the administration and the school board to be on the same page as far as that goes. So I think that's...
With the inability of the state to properly fund education, which means we as a school board, we have to maintain fiscal sovereignty and be fiscal prudent in how we use our funds to maintain high quality education, high quality staff, because the high quality teachers that we have, they're the ones that will produce the level of education for our students, because they're the ones that have contact with our students. So we need to have high quality employees across the district, because then that will ensure high quality education. In 5 years from now, based on indications, we may be out of the recession that we're in, and I still think we're in a recession. If we can come out of it, we're still going to have to look at funding, because funding is always trailing income, and it doesn't come in right away. Prop 30 has to pass because it will assist. We've taken steps.
Thank you very much.
I think the largest problem facing Castro Valley right now is the priorities set in this economic downturn. How is the community polled? How are the parents polled? What input do we have into what programs are important for our schools right now? We all know we're facing a budget crisis, but how do we choose what things to keep and what's important to us? It seems like we don't have much voice here in Castro Valley, and that's what I think our biggest problem is. We don't get a voice in what's important for us. Cuts are made, programs are slashed, and maybe it's not the priority for the Castro Valley community. In 5 years, I think the problem is going to be, how do we attract teachers back into the business? After so many years of this economic downturn, we are losing teachers hand over fist out of state. Who wants to be a teacher when there are constant cuts year after year, when you're on the layoff list year after year? I think we're going to have a dramatic shift, and we're going to have a really tough time filling positions with quality teachers in 5 years.
I think our biggest challenge now is stepping outside this notion that because of the crisis, nothing can be done. I've heard this for many years as a teacher. I think it's being able to step outside, work together, and really come up with some innovative, creative solutions to what we currently face. To really focus on the kids and the classroom and what can be done. Our teenagers are dying on the vine. They're bored, they're not engaged. And so I would like to challenge the community to join me with this. And I think it's going to be a problem 5 years from now as well, unless it's going to even be worse as our schools become more overcrowded. So I asked you to join with me, to join with us, and come up with those creative solutions that I think will benefit our classrooms, benefit our teachers, and benefit our children. Thank you.
The problem facing the Castro Valley School District right now is the unstable funding source that's coming from the state of California. And until all Californians decide that that's going to be a priority, nothing's going to happen, and the school district needs to do the best they can with what they have. I was at an event in Oakland a couple of weeks ago where Senator Lonnie Hancock described it as hyper-partisanship, where they can't get anything done in Sacramento. So here in Castro Valley, I'm going to say that the issue that our district has been focusing on, that we consider paramount, is the equity issue. And we're focused on making sure that not only each student achieves, but that we make sure that there aren't any achievement gaps in our district. That children of color are doing as well as children that are not of color, that children with economic challenges are doing as well. Thank you.
Besides the grim state education budget situation, which I think means Prop 30, what is the most pressing issue you see facing the district, and how would you address it?
I think we have more than one pressing issue here in the district. As I said earlier, education is predicated on finance. If you don't have the money, you don't have quality education. And Sacramento can't get its act together again, and who's suffering but our students here in Castro Valley as across the state. We need to be able to provide the proper funding to provide proper education, proper staffing, because they're the ones that are in direct contact with the student in the classroom, and the classified people are also the assistants to the teachers in the classroom as their aides. So we need to work to be able to provide the proper funding, because we do have quality teachers. And if you looked at the form a few days ago, there was a picture of past employees, students who had gone through Castro Valley. They're back here to work as either classified or teachers. I think that tells you that people want to come and work here in Castro Valley because we are a district of high quality, and we appreciate all the staff that we have.
Thank you.
I think the next pressing issue for Castro Valley is curriculum innovation. I would like to see, with this change of Common Core standards in 2014, the current tests that we do nationwide are changing. All the curriculum statewide will change. It's an opportunity for us as a district to really do some innovative teaching. I think right now there's not a focus on teaching and learning in our district, and I would like that to be the second focus. After funding, let's get teaching and learning in order. That means our teachers design programs that are good for our children, where children are engaged. They want to be there in school. They're learning. We have an opportunity before us, and I would like to make that a focus.
I also believe that one of the focuses that we really need to look at is curriculum and what's happening. And again, it's especially in our high schools. I think that the answers are out there. I believe that our students, there was a big forum at the New York City Library, and they interviewed students. They brought them to the table. They had amazing solutions that they brought to the table in terms of how they would restructure their high schools. What they see could happen in light of the whole financially grim state of affairs. Yes, that has to happen. But while that's happening, I mean, that could take 5 years, we don't know. But while that's happening, there are kids in our schools. And to me, that's what's grim, that we continue to wait for the financial situation to get itself together before we move forward. Thank you.
Castro Valley Unified School District is aggressively looking at ways to improve education. We have implemented professional learning communities. We're talking about response to intervention as being a solution for the achievement gap and the equity issue. And I think that down the road, the issue facing us will be how we present that curriculum, how we integrate Common Core standards into that curriculum. And I think we're recognizing that data is really important, but high-touch teaching is also very important. And into that, we have to integrate technology so that children are ready to engage in career or college when they leave high school. And that's a huge challenge for any school district and for Castro Valley Unified.
I believe the single most pressing issue after the financial issue has to do with the equity issue that Joe had touched on. The equity issue, we've talked about it at the board level. We've had presentations to us, and it has to do with, we've developed board policies, and there have been administrative regulations in our district to address this issue. And it has to do with the performance of all of the subgroups. And some of those subgroups would be the Latino subgroups, the African American subgroups that aren't performing, the English language learners, and also those folks on economic disadvantage and these subgroups where they're not performing as high as we would like them to do. So when we talk about closing the achievement gap and the equity issues, what our emphasis is on the board is to bring those folks at those groups that aren't performing as well up as much as we can. One way to do that is to have mentors.
From the very early reports I have from teachers I know that have gone to some trainings and looked at some program, we are right now in the investigations period. We're looking at how these changes will affect. Next year's a pilot year, and then the year after that's implementation. From what I've heard, unlike the current bubble tests, which are kind of rote learning, can you add up the two numbers and get one of the correct answers, these ask the children to think more deeply. So from the early things I've heard from teachers, they're happier with this kind of learning. It's going to have our children think about the problems. So for instance, it gives the children a solution done by another child that's incorrect, and it says, where did the child go wrong? That's a different level than we currently teach. And so for us, it would be teaching children again to think, and we're thinking that's a positive thing.
Okay, Common Core. Core of my work at this particular time. I'm really encouraged and energized, and the teachers I work with and principals are really excited and encouraged and energized by the new Common Core. I think part of it is the whole notion that oftentimes what you test is what's taught, and that has a variety of problems from the arts and music and the sciences, etc. But what Charmaine touched upon it is, if you look at the assessments, they really do integrate learning very well. And so I'm going to give another example. You would look at an assessment, the child might get a water bill, a scientific article on water conservation, and some other information, a graph possibly, and then be asked to take some time, sometimes overnight, to think about how you would help Mrs. Smith conserve water based on what you saw. So that's a really good example of that whole notion of integration. Thank you.
Common Core standards were adopted in English language arts and mathematics. And there is a new testing or assessment program coming in that the state of California has adopted through the Department of Education. In Castro Valley, the board's involvement has been during the political process when Common Core standards were adopted. We had input on the state level, and we are also interested in advocating for Common Core standards across the curriculum, not just in two subject areas. For us, we have instructed the staff to come up with a 3-year plan, and they've come back to us with their staff development, their professional development that will happen along with Common Core standards, and the teachers and other staff in the district have been fully involved in adopting that process and moving forward. It will be a 3-year plan.
Core standards are not only a California, it's adopted in California, but it's also federal. And so for 2011-12, we will be going through, been some preliminary training. 2012-13 will be comprehensive training. And in these 2 years, we'll continue to maintain the STAR testing. But in the 3rd year, during full implementation in 13-14, that STAR test will no longer be available. So where we had multiple choice tests for the students to take, and it was described by Leslie Anderson, our director, our assistant superintendent for curriculum, that these were like multiple guess tests. We're all familiar with them. And she had mentioned that those kind of tests are not going to be used for assessments any longer, that The kind of test that they'll be using will be something to the effect that there may be 2 or 3 correct answers, and I commented, that's not fair, how are we going to guess at these things? But it's going to be something where the learning environment and the testing environment, the assessments are going to be completely different than as we see it now. For instance, in the math curricula area, what's going to happen is that there are going to be verbal questions. So tell us how you got to this answer, explain that, and those kind of things, not only just give us the answer.
Okay. The success of this Common Core program that's being implemented in our district over the next 3 years, the important part is the training that we will provide our teachers. So they're the ones that are in the classroom, they're the ones that touch the students, and they're the ones that see the progress. We are trying to provide them with all the necessary tools so that they can provide for algebra, which has always been a hard subject for a lot of students, to get into critical thinking rather than memorizing, rather than reading a test and trying to answer it. We want people to be able to think out what is happening and what the answers are and how they arrive at a logical conclusion. So I think we're going to see a lot of changes in this Common Core over the years and the way it's implemented, at least in our district. We feel that we have the quality teachers and the staff in our district and in our curriculum department to make sure that Common Core is implemented and we have a successful student base here in Castro Valley, because we want to make sure that all students are successful and that all of those who have special needs are able to accomplish, and then they can go on. And we've found that these students also go on to college and they become very successful. So it's going to be a lot of hard work for everybody.
What experience do you view as most important for a school board member?
School board member, I feel we really need to wear 2 hats. I think it's important to have an understanding of finance. I really do. I think my years running multi-million-dollar budgets have taught me that. They've taught me the importance of paying attention to those details. Also, a deep understanding of education. And I think you need that balance on the school board. Really understanding the day-to-day work, especially when you're trying to make cuts and you're trying to really carve away at budgets to make those priorities. I think you need to have that understanding of the daily work of the school, of the daily work of the district. But again, I really feel it's a balance. It's a balance of those 2 hats, and I think either one in isolation won't quite do the trick. Thank you.
The current governing team for the school district is doing a book study, and we're reading a book called The School Board Field Book, and it talks about the position of being a school board member. And I think for me, in reading the book, the one thing that comes out is that you have to be an advocate for public education, because there are lots of times where you're frustrated or you feel constrained by the budget, and you have to really, really care about children and public education to make it happen. And as Mary said, there's a balancing act, and that has to be with being a team builder and being a member of a governing team that you can really make change, you can really have an impact on 9,000 children and the staff and community by being willing to build a team and take little steps forward. And I love to say that even if you fall on your face, in my case, you're 5 foot 4 inches forward. Thank you.
Well, obviously, I think the most important experience is the financial experience. I'm just kidding, of course. What I think the most important experience to be on the school board is to be a good decision maker. That we need to make decisions from a strategic level that affect the policy, the vision, the budgets, the negotiation, expulsions that we handle for the entire district. In addition to that, a board member, I need to understand what my role is. And my role is not a micromanager. My role is not the superintendent. or administrator or principal or teacher. My role is to be a policymaker and set the direction of the district. And with these many years of experience, although that may not necessarily started as my understanding, I've been able to gain that experience.
I think there's a multitude of responsibilities that a school board member has to have. One, they have to be available and accessible to the public. And according to the book that Joe was talking about that we're reading, in there it talks about when you become a board member, you realize that you are really on call 24/7. You are no longer a private citizen. People want to talk to you. They want to know why things are happening. So we have to listen, and listen. So we understand what the issues are. Several years ago, the board decided that we really need to understand what our role was. So we all took these courses that has been mentioned by the other board members, and it took us over 2 years to go through those classes. And we covered curriculum, finance, facilities, and human resources. And all those are major components of the district and of the responsibility of the board. We do not micromanage. We set policy and direction. We hire the professionals. They're the ones that are trained to do that. Superintendent, the assistant superintendent in curriculum, human resources, and in business. Those are all important because it all trickles down that we rely on the teacher and the classified employees in the classrooms as teachers' aides in maintaining safe, sound, and clean buildings, that we all become part of a team and we all have to work together. Our responsibility is to set policy and guidance and not micromanage.
Thank you.
I think you have to be a student advocate. If you ask the student leaders at James Logan High School or throughout the New Haven district where I've worked, I think they'll tell you that I'm a student advocate. I will find a solution for our problems somehow. And I think the other thing is I'm a problem solver. There's always a solution out there. There's always a way to bring the parties together to find a solution. I think those are the two things that we need in this tough time. We need people that are knowledgeable about schools. I'm not saying any of these folks aren't knowledgeable about schools, but the problem set that we need right now in these really difficult times, and we need strong student advocates, and we need people with really, really good problem-solving skills to be able to take those tough issues, listen to our constituents, and find a solution.
What is the most heartbreaking cut you have seen in the Castro Valley School District? And what program would you bring back first as funding becomes available?
Well, I think personally the most heartbreaking cut has been the increase in class size reduction. Back in 1995, we went to class size reduction. We were one of the first districts to do it for all 3 grades. We did it for first, second, and third, and then the following year we did it for kindergarten. The first year we were only allowed to do it for three years. The second year we were allowed to do it for all 4 years. So we implemented that very quickly. We hired teachers. We had teachers hired before school started, and we had facilities ahead of other facilities because we were very proactive. At that time, I was also president of the school board. And so making the cut from 20 to 1, we were proposing 2 years ago to go to 28 to 1 in the primary grades. That would be kindergarten, first, second, and third. And what we were able to do with the negotiations and with some furlough days and those kind of things was we were able to maintain it at 25 to 1. Many districts in the area are at 28 to 1. Some of them are even higher than that. If we have the funding available to restore the class size reductions to 20 to 1 for the primary grades and the 9th grade level for English and that program, I would heartily endorse that. I would support that.
I think what we need to do, and again, it has to do with dollars and cents. I would love to see class size reduction go back to 20 to 1. Right now we are at 25 to 1. Also, too, a few years ago we cut 7th period, and I think that really had an effect on high school students in trying to be able to put all their courses together. And they had this course where they could take, if they were participating in sports, they had that ability to be able to take another class to make up for that time. So I'd like to see 7th period brought back, because we had that. And then class size reduction. I think it's very important that with the 20-to-1 and the K-3, and then if we have the funds, even bring back class size reduction in the 9th grade. We had that too. And we had to make cuts because of financial restraints on the district brought upon us by Sacramento. Once they can get their act together, I think we've already got our act together. We know what we want to do. And once we get the funding, we can re-implement class size reduction backwards, and we can hopefully bring back 7th period at the high school, which is very beneficial to our high school students.
We've heard 2 other speakers say class size is very important, and it is to me also. But I've been listening to some of the folks in the community that say transportation is a big problem right now. Their children are being asked to walk an increased distance if they live within a mile of school. And some of the children walking to Canyon, it's a burden to walk a mile up and downhill on those very busy streets. And so I think as we look at what's the most heartbreaking, any cut that affected the education of our children is heartbreaking. Every single one of them. Class size increase. Increases in cuts in the amount of programs that they have. When we started to cut electives out of the high school, heartbreaking. When sports programs are reduced, heartbreaking. Every single cut that affects our children's lives is heartbreaking. What do we bring back first? What does our community want back first? Have we been asking them? I would like to put back class size, but this isn't, I'm not the sole decision maker here. Maybe our community would like transportation back first. I think those are the things we need to ask our parent community. Maybe they want access to the high school track. There are other things that our community wants besides just what I want. But class size is important.
I agree that with Charmaine that any cut made in classrooms close to children is heartbreaking. They deserve everything we can give them. So whatever cuts are made, they need to be as far away from the classroom as possible. I also feel, as I stated last night, it's really not about me. I do believe class size is an issue. It's a critical issue. It makes a big difference. That's why private schools pride themselves on having 13-to-1 and 15-to-1. But I really feel it's about the community and what they want and what you want. And I feel I'm a representative of the community. So I think it's important to reach out to find out what are the issues. And it may be a different issue at the high school than it is at the elementary issue. What are your issues? I'm hearing a lot lately about the high schools and kids not being able to get classes that they so sorely need to move forward and go to college. There's overcrowding. My question is why? Is that because of cuts? I don't know. I really don't know. But I know people out there do know. And so what my response would be is, again, to come together to the table to find out why is this happening in the high school? What was cut? What needs to be put back so our kids have access to their future, which are the courses that they're not able to access. Thank you.
I think that being on the school board requires you to make extraordinarily difficult decisions. And any time that we've had to make a budget cut or a budget adjustment, they're all extraordinarily difficult because of the stories behind the cuts. So if we say class size reduction is affecting not only the children, but the staff and the community, that's an important part. But if we say that we're not going to have a school resource officer, that's affecting the safety of the school and the students and the community. So it's a really tough decision. Many of them cause sleepless nights, and you want to have the best decision that you can based on the information that you have. So I'm going to say that every single cut has been difficult. We did what we call belt tightening about 4 or 5 years ago, where we evaluated every decision. So the things that we've done this year have been extraordinarily difficult. And when you talk about bringing programs back, I think you need to look at the large picture. And I mentioned earlier the need for technology within our district. And if there is money that we have to spend, I would assess whether or not bringing a program back or perhaps changing technology or something else new might be the most vital piece rather than necessarily going backwards. Thank you.
Question would be, who are your local supporters and endorsers, if that is important to your campaign? And I believe we start with Mr. Barbieri. Sometimes it's difficult to
It is, because I
interpret
would
the
have brought a
question.
list of the people that I've communicated with.
Surely you could have one or two you could list.
I can list one or
We
two.
only have a minute.
Yeah, I've communicated with a number of educators, and I have a number of teachers who have said they will endorse me and support me, but they asked not to have their name mentioned. Active teachers. Community people, John Lynn from the Jenny Lynn Foundation has offered to support. A parent who's sitting in the back room is a parent, Anna. She's way right back there. She and Bob Swanson has also indicated he would support me. Ron Meisner sitting here, a business person in Castro Valley. Just to name a few. If I didn't know that, I brought the list of people because I've got 2 pages at home that I've called and have all committed their endorsements and support. I think of some of the other people off the top of my head. I wasn't prepared for that one. I think I'll leave it at that.
That's quite all right. Thank you.
I'm proudly endorsed by the Castro Valley Teachers Association. They are my favorite endorsement because I know that they work so hard to make sure that our children have the best experience every day. I'm also endorsed by the Alameda County Democratic Club and the Castro Valley Democratic Club. I'm endorsed by Supervisor Richard Valle because I've worked very closely with him. I realize he's not our county supervisor, but he's the one I've worked with intimately for the last 8 years. I'm endorsed by Assemblymember Hayashi and also Assemblymember Wachowski. But my favorite endorsement, of course, is our teachers.
Okay, my first endorsement came from the Castro Valley Teachers Association, and as a longtime teacher, that's what meant most to me. Because I really believe we need their support in the work that we have to do going forward. I'm also been endorsed by the Castro Valley Democratic Club. I'm endorsed by many parents in the community. I'm not going to shout them out, their names. Some sit in the audience, some not sitting in the audience. Quite a few 18-year-olds, as my son is reaching voting age. I'm using this opportunity to sort of educate them about the political process and encourage them to be informed. I couldn't quite talk the 18-year-olds into coming tonight. Hopefully they're watching on their computers. Probably that if I catch them, that's where I'm going to catch them. But truly, I am proud to be endorsed by the group that means most to me, what I've spent my life in, and that's the teacher community. Thank you.
I have not actively sought endorsements or supporters for this campaign. I have been endorsed by the Alameda County Democratic Group and the Castro Valley Democratic Club. But my point in this campaign is that I'm invested in this community. I've coached soccer, t-ball, softball. I've worked for years in the community outreach. I've been active in Scouts, Girl Scouts, and Boy Scouts. I feel like I have a real pulse on the community. My friends, their children, and their children's children are going to the Castro Valley schools, and I'm totally accessible to phone calls, emails. I hate the produce section at Lucky's because somebody always wants to talk about some issue, so I get through there very quickly. But I consider myself a product of the Castro Valley Parent Leader System, and I'm really proud to be one of their representatives at the board table.
I'm supported by local community members. There's a couple that come to mind. Dennis Waspy, who's on the HARD board, has endorsed me. And Richard Venucci, who's a member of the VFW committee here in town, has endorsed me. I don't have my list, unfortunately. I think my biggest accomplishment as far as he didn't endorse me, he sent me money, is my older brother. And, the reason I say that is that he's a retired LA Unified High School teacher, and his wife is a retired LA Unified Junior High School teacher. And so they have supported me, and so I do appreciate that.
Can I ask you a question, please? Was the question not...
2 minutes for their final closing, and there will be no forgiveness to go beyond the time. We did a little forgiveness on the last couple of questions because of timing. But these questions are too, when you hear the sound go off at the end and the red light comes on, you go off the stage. So we will reverse the order of our closing statements, and we'll start with Kunio Okui.
Thank you again. I wanted to thank all of you for attending. One of the things that I have on my closing statement was to read the mission statement. So John, I appreciate that you did that, so that I have more time to browbeat everybody. I have helped sustain the district through very difficult financial times and prosperous times. These current difficult financial times requires the experience and understanding that I bring to the board. I am able to make incredibly difficult decisions. As an experienced board member, I will hit the ground running. There's no training necessary for me. I have a stake in the district as a parent of a teacher and a grandparent of 2 students. I have served on the board, and I will continue to make decisions consistent with our mission statement.
I was going to talk about the school funding because, again, education is predicated on dollars. The state has cut our funding since approximately 2007, when we were getting about $7,200 per student. We're down to about $5,200. That translates over this period of time of about $30 million that we have lost over these periods of time. We're not going to make that up. So we have to make up with what dollars we have. And I think I bring that expertise on finances. Also, I've been in the classroom, and I understand that, and I have daughters and daughter-in-laws that are teachers, and we talk a lot to see really how they perceive education, so I can get another perspective from outside. I am a very student advocate, and I believe that we need to provide the best we can here in Castro Valley, and we have to hire the best quality people, and they want to come to work here in Castro Valley. So therefore, we have the choice of the pick of the crop for our administrators, our principals, and our teachers, and we always forget to talk about the classified. They're the ones that work with the teachers in the classroom. They're the ones that keep the rooms clean. They're the ones that keep the grounds clean and repair. So we have an overall team of employees that work with us, and we have to appreciate them. So therefore, I feel that you should vote for me because I believe in education for our school district here, and I have proven that over the years that I've been on the board. And I will work harder, and we'll try to improve communications with the public, really see what they want. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for coming tonight and spending their night learning more about our community and our schools and trying to find which is the right fit for our school board. The reason I think schools exist is to help children reach their highest aspiration. In my classroom, I've created an environment to help my students reach their highest aspiration. This summer, I was visited by one of my former students who wanted to come back and say thank you. He's just starting his job at Facebook. He came back to tell me that in my classroom, he learned the joy of computer science, and it's going to take him through the rest of his life. He said he's now working on a project, top secret, I can't tell you. But he said, without my class and without the way that I offered them the opportunity to experiment and learn, he would never have found his path. So he thanked me. And I have stories like that every year. Because for me, I'm a teacher. And it's about making sure that we create situations where children feel good about learning, about coming to school, about reaching their highest goals, about taking risks. And that's why I want to be on this Castro Valley School Board. As I look at my nieces and nephews in the schools, and Sammy across the street, my kindergartner, I think, are they truly having their needs met? Can they reach their highest aspiration? I know there's budget cuts, but are we doing everything we can? I think we can do better, and I hope you'll vote for me.
As
I look at my notes for the closing, I realize that so much of what I planned on saying you teased out of me through your questions. I do want to thank the League of Women Voters and Castro Valley TV for organizing it. I'd also like to thank the other candidates here tonight for expressing their views and their opinions. So why me? Why would you want to elect me, who's never been on the school board before, when we have these candidates who've kept us financially sound? And I applaud that. But again, I reiterate, we need educators as part of the conversation, and we need some change. We need a new perspective. The demographics are changing in Castro Valley. It's going to be even more challenging to keep it good and to move to great, unless we make some different choices and decisions. And I just really want to be a part of that. I really want to bring what I know about English learners, what I know about working with an achievement gap in my experiences in Oakland. I think I have something to contribute. I really do believe that there are different ways of organizing high schools. There's very creative ways at schools around us, and I challenge you to visit Napa High and to visit Dublin High, where they're doing innovative things like flipped classrooms and changing grade practices. And so I just want to get some excitement, and you know, I'm talking a lot about the high school, but I really feel that that's where we need to start. Our elementary kids seem happy. I've been in those classrooms. But again, I'm worried about our teenagers. I really am. And I want to be a part of a process that's going to bring the teachers together, have a conversation about what we can do differently to keep our kids engaged. The 21st century is here. Things are going to be a lot different. Common Core is coming. We can't do business as usual. We need to take new approaches. And I hope you'll vote for me so that I can be part of the process.
Thank you for the opportunity to share the importance of public education and our schools in Castro Valley. I appreciate you taking the time to become educated voters, and I'm asking for your vote on November 6th. I have a proven track record as a champion for public education and an advocate for California's children and families. I have demonstrated leadership to make things happen for many years in many different venues. I'm willing to do the hard work to be a knowledgeable board member that makes valuable contributions. My expectations are high. I'm not afraid of asking tough questions or participating in courageous conversations to increase student achievement for every single child. I'm also not afraid of making the difficult decisions that are required of a board member, even in public meetings with 400 people in the room. I understand the need to evaluate the data, look at the long-term effects, and make strategic choices. I recognize the constraints of serving as a responsible elected official that require the ultimate relationship building of collaboration so that you can be effective. We brought our family to Castro Valley for schools that we thought would give our children the best chance to be successful. Ed and I made a conscious decision to make a difference in their schools and in our communities. We are proud to call Castro Valley home, and I am honored and privileged to be an elected public official that advocates for Castro Valley School District.
For our viewing audience and for the folks who are here still with us this evening, you've been watching a candidate forum produced by the League of Women Voters and Castro Valley TV. I didn't want to forget you folks. On behalf of the League, Castro Valley TV, and our audience, thank you to all the candidates for joining us and for your willingness to run for this important public position.